Hi, I'm Jon Favreau, host of Crooked Media's new weekly series, Offline with Jon Favreau. If you feel like the internet is breaking our brains, but you still can't put the phone down, this show might help. Each week, I'll be talking to people like Monica Lewinsky, Megan Rapinoe, Peter Hamby, and DeRay McKesson about all the ways our extremely online existence is shaping politics, media, entertainment, sports, business, and more. New episodes of Offline with Jon Favreau drop every Sunday on the Pod Save America feed. Listen on Odyssey or wherever you get your podcasts.
With Farmers, you could get savings just for becoming a customer. It's a little extra something. So to tell you about it, we're adding a little extra something to this ad. Precious baby giggles. When you switch to Farmers, you could save an average of $437 on your home insurance. And that's a whole lot of something, baby. Aw, get a quote at farmers.com.
We are farmers. Bum, 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 bum.
Based on average nationwide annual savings survey data July 2020 to 21, underwritten by Farmers Trucker Fire Insurance Exchanges or affiliate. Products not available in every state.
Farmers Policy Perks are that little extra something you can get when you're a Farmers customer. So to tell you about them, we're adding a little extra something to this ad. A backup singer.
Ooh, singer.
When you have the Farmers Signal app with Crash Assist.
Crash Assist.
If you have an auto accident.
We can send help if you want it.
Wow, that sounds like a whole lot of something. Get a quote at farmers.com.
We are farmers. Bum, 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 bum.
Not available in every state. Only available with select Farmers branded policies subject to terms and conditions underwritten by Farmers Trucker Fire Insurance Exchanges or affiliate.
Man, there are a lot of podcasts out there.
Definitely. I mean, there's 3 million shows, 50 million episodes, and more every day.
I mean, who has the time to figure out which ones are the best podcasts?
We do. That's who. What's up, guys? I am Alicia Renee.
And I'm Dax Holt.
And we are your hosts of Pod Sauce, a podcast discovery show.
Look at us as your podcast concierge.
We do all the work for you. We listen to the shows, review them,
pick the best episodes, and interview the hosts.
Pod Sauce. Let us help you find your next binge. Tell them where to go, Dax.
Go to podsauce.com.
Up to 30% of U.S. military members and veterans are battling PTSD, even those who weren't injured or in combat. If you're one of the many, you should know that you don't have to suffer. Treatment for PTSD is available. If you suffer from PTSD-related depression and anxiety, you're not alone. There are so many veterans and current enlisted just like you. You don't have to suffer. Find the help and resources you need and deserve at connectingvets.com.
In 1987, a former prosecutor named Margaret Kuhn took her dog for a walk in one of Louisiana's safest and most affluent parishes. The next morning, she was found dead on the side of the road. 34 years later, the crime remains unsolved.
No one is safe.
Listen to Gone South, Season 1, Who Killed Margaret Kuhn? A documentary podcast from C13 Originals. Available on the Odyssey app or wherever you listen to your podcasts.
Farmers Policy Perks are that little extra something you can get when you're a Farmers customer. So to tell you about them, we're adding a little extra something to this ad. Another me. And when you have multiple Farmers policies, you could save up to 45% on your auto insurance with the Auto Multi-Policy discount. What's going on with our voice? I thought I'd add some drama. Well, isn't that something? Get a quote at farmers.com.
We are farmers. Bum, 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 bum.
Not available in every state. Only available with select Farmers branded policies subject to terms and conditions underwritten by Farmers Trucker Fire Insurance Exchanges, Farmers New World Life Insurance Company or affiliate.
Hey, nice party.
Yeah? What's new with you?
Did you know blue whales in Hawaii can be heard off the coast of California?
What?
And time travel to the future may actually be possible.
How is that?
I discovered it on CuriosityStream.
I'm listening.
You can stream thousands of shows on nature, history, science, and so much more.
Cool.
And their annual plans are 25% off, just $1.25 a month.
Now I want to go back in time. Sign up for that deal.
Sign up now at CuriosityStream.com.
CuriosityStream.com.
That's it, CuriosityStream.com.
I'm Shayna.
And I'm Tracy, and we're the hosts of Band of Mothers podcasts. We're a little Wait, Don't Tell Me meets This American Life meets Thelma and Louise.
I can't wait to drive off a cliff with you.
You've been saying that since the 8th grade.
Each week we feature real stories from moms just like you. Plus, we've got live performances, in-studio interviews, games, original music, and more.
So join our Band of Mothers and subscribe now on the Odyssey app or anywhere you listen to podcasts.
This is the Band of Mothers podcast.
Hey, I'm Peter Bukowski, host of the Locked On Today podcast. Trying to stay on top of every big story in sports is a full-time job. I know, because it is my full-time job. But it's not yours. That's why we have a network of local experts ready to give you the inside scoop on everything you truly need to know in the sports world. And we do it every day to make sure you're always caught up on the latest and greatest in sports. Listen to the Locked On Today podcast every day on the Odyssey app or wherever you get podcasts.
Yeah, Eagles-Chargers, that line, as James said to us earlier today, down to 1.5. So, hoping, man, I'm hoping the Eagles can turn this season around, and Chargers game is really key for that purpose. Joe DeCamera, John Ritchie. Sixers and Flyers both in action tonight. I got something on the 76ers from last night. We'll get to that coming up shortly. Also at 1:20 today, Seth Joyner joins us on the show. Tonight he goes into the Philadelphia Sports Hall of Fame, and certainly a rightful spot for Seth to be one of the great Eagles defenders of all time. And Seth will join us at 1:20. We'll talk about Seth, his career, his love of Philly and the Eagles, and of course the present-day Eagles. And I don't think Seth has as much. I mean, he loves the Eagles, but I don't think he's as much like the present-day Eagles as we'd all like to have him, and all of us have. Of course, they have struggled this year. So we'll do a lot with Seth coming up at 1:20 today. Let's go to Bryce in Wilmington, Delaware. Hey, Bryce.
Yo, guys, how you doing today?
Doing well, Bryce.
So, I kind of wanted to touch on the point of, like, the other teams who are kind of in front of us or right around us for the playoffs.
Sure.
The only team I'm actually, like, worried about is the Chargers. Just like Tarchin, how do you say his name? He just said the Vikings have, like, a hard schedule. They also have 3 primetime games, and if you look at Kirk Cousins, he's terrible in primetime. I think he's, like, 6-18. So I think the Vikings are kind of, like, not out of it, but I would say they have a very long shot.
You actually think that's the thing, Bryce?
I do. I think he does play. I mean,
that some players play worse in prime
There's
time.
something about Kirk Cousins that, to me, he just doesn't have it. That's my assessment. He's better than the guys that stink, but he's
so much better than people give credit. Like, I'm not saying he's great.
Listen,
he's pretty dependable,
you
and
know
he
what?
knows where to go with the ball.
He lost that game in 2018 to the Bears. He shouldn't have. He did. It meant everything to the Vikings. It meant nothing to the Bears. The Bears won. The Eagles made the playoffs. Kirk Cousins, to me, just doesn't have it. That's how I look at it.
And, yeah, I mean, 6-18, like obviously it could be just fake, but I don't know. That seems like a lot of games to lose in prime time. I think he just freaks out when he knows the whole country's watching.
Bryce, give me a 90s movie. Oh, I'm sorry, you got a Phillies point? Go ahead on the Phils.
Well, no, actually, I was going to stop at Phillies point because we're just screwed. The Braves are really good, and we don't know what we're doing. But, no, as far as the Lions game,
yep.
I look at it kind of more positive than other people because my mindset is maybe Sirianni and them went into it, and they were like, you know what, this is the worst team in the league. Screw it. We're just going to listen to what everyone says, and we're going to run the ball, and we're going to blitz and see what happens. And then they did it. It worked. So now, I mean, it's optimistic thinking. Like, they could just as easy go back the other way and be dumb again, but I think they might be able to turn it around.
Okay. All right, a great movie from the 90s. There are still big movies available, and I think maybe even The Winning Answer is still available. Bryce, what do you got?
Hold on. I just want to, before we get to that.
Yep.
Kirk Cousins, over the last 17 games, has been on a incredible pace.
He never wins anything.
Okay.
Ever.
Say what you want.
He
ranks second all-time in consecutive games with a QB rating above 90, behind only Peyton Manning.
Okay.
Kirk Cousins knows where to go with the ball. Kirk Cousins now has receivers that are really good. He's got a good complement of receivers, and they've kind of turned the reins over to him where they're saying, we're not just going to run the ball constantly with Dalvin Cook or whoever's back there. We're going to let you, put a little bit more on your shoulders.
Yep.
And he has responded by playing really good football. So the narrative that Kirk Cousins is bad is inaccurate.
I didn't say he's bad.
The narrative that Kirk Cousins never wins anything.
Well, yeah, he doesn't.
It's not accurate. He wins games. And he does so in I wish we had a quarterback like Kirk Cousins.
It would be an upgrade. I just don't think he's that good. Give me a great 90s movie, Bryce.
All right, so maybe James can play his terrible audio from this, but I'm going to go Silence of the Lambs.
That's a big answer.
Huge, man.
That's one of the movies that I was still waiting for that has winning capabilities.
Here's what I think I'm like offended.
I know you are.
I'm often
We can tell.
offended
We can
by
tell.
no by you, Joe,
I know you are.
because it's always like, oh, he plays for someone else, he stinks.
No, it's not he
No,
stinks.
I'm telling you, that is the vibe that you give off about all these other
John,
players.
most people-
There can be other players who are good in other cities. They can play good football in other cities. Right now, like the truth is, we're not playing good football here.
I'm aware of that.
And
3 and
I
5.
think while I think we have some good players, they're not being maximized. We have to give credit where credit's due sometimes.
Well, here's the credit I'll give Kirk Cousins. He's a legitimate starting quarterback. He's an average NFL starting quarterback. He made more of his career than was expected.
He's above average.
Look, we just see Kirk Cousins differently. That's fine. All right, 76ers. Last night, 2 thoughts, totally unrelated to anything we discussed so far when we talk Sixers, went through my mind. Thought number 1. We've talked a lot about Ben Simmons for Damian Lillard, pipe dream. Ben Simmons for Bradley Beal, probably a pipe dream. I mean, we've gone through all these different scenarios. We never even considered the Ben Simmons for DeMar DeRozan thing, which to me now is a pipe dream to even try to get him. I mean,
Yeah.
DeMar DeRozan is the kind of guy that you could have gotten probably for Ben Simmons. He's older. He doesn't have a long runway of great time ahead. He's been in the league for a while already. But I mean, that guy can play basketball. He's averaging 27 points a game. So, ideally the Sixers would get a point guard for Ben if they trade him. But you do have to consider the possibility of it being a non-point guard whenever they get this done. And to me, I would love to have DeMar DeRozan for Ben Simmons, but you probably can't even get him anymore. We saw last night and have seen for a number of years, that guy is an unbelievable scorer. Unbelievable scorer.
Yeah.
All right, thought number 2. John and James, I want both of your opinion and reaction to this question. Now, I don't think the 76ers are going to win the NBA championship. I think it is extremely unlikely that the Sixers win the title. But I'm going to ask James, you, and John this question. What happens if Ben Simmons does not play this year for the Sixers, doesn't get traded, and they win the title? Does he get a ring?
It's a great question. I mean, he probably does, right? I mean, Howard got a ring
No
when the
way.
Eagles won. I'm sure Ben Simmons will get one.
You can't give him.
If he's part of the organization, yeah,
No, he's not.
probably.
No, he's not.
Yeah,
You get a
I think
ring?
he does. I mean, it's ridiculous.
I mean,
it is.
ring ceremony, Ben Simmons gets a ring and doesn't play the whole year
No
for
way.
it.
You can't. You can't do that.
Players Association, another grievance. Could you imagine, John? Now, look, I don't think the Sixers are going to win the title, but it's good that we're off to a 6-2 start. I'm obviously joking around a little bit here. But, I mean, the Sixers are pretty good. They're going to be a playoff team.
Yeah, they're pretty good.
Just imagine.
And, you know what?
Just imagine how absurd that would be.
Doc Rivers, he's been much maligned. Everyone says he doesn't know what he's doing. He hasn't won anything since whatever it was.
Done a nice job this year.
Yeah.
He has.
We got to give him some props.
I agree with you on that, John. Let's talk to Sean in Northeast Philadelphia. Hey, Sean.
Hey, guys. How you doing? Thanks
Doing
for taking
well,
my call.
Sean. Thanks for calling us.
Real quick, Joe, that letter was absolutely phenomenal, man. Seriously.
Thank you.
The fantastic sports mind thing, epic. I love it.
Thanks, buddy. I appreciate it.
I know you're trying to be humbled. You could gloat a little bit, Joe. It's cool.
Nah, it's not my style.
Come on, man. Yes, it is.
It is sometimes. Yeah, I was gonna say I'm not. I was gonna say I'm not gonna lie, but then I would be lying. So
Right.
Yeah.
I just want to touch on the Eagles a little bit.
Yep.
I'm more or less with Richie. It's hard, because you want to put the Eagles, the green goggles on a little bit, and you want to make her do that whole thing, but if you really watch the games and see what's going on inside the lines, we're just not there. We're just not ready. You know what I mean? And and I know James brought up the schedule, and I'm so tired. I called months ago and said the same thing about the Phillies.
See, but Sean, I never bought it with the Phillies in that schedule. I buy it in football. That Eagles schedule is pretty light. Now, granted, the Eagles are amongst a lot of those same type of teams.
They'll make them look tougher than you think.
But I'm telling you, that is a soft schedule the Eagles have up ahead.
I know it is. I mean,
And we
you know,
probably won't be
just-
favored in those games.
Right.
Well, it depends on what happens here in the next 2 to 3
They'll
weeks.
be favored at home against the Giants and Washington and stuff like that.
And they could be.
I think.
And they could be favored on the road if the Eagles pick up some momentum. Yeah.
Right, but we never sweep it. We very rarely sweep. Like, you know, beat the Redskins twice, beat the Giants twice. I mean, I don't think we do that often. So even if we split them, Charchin just said they're getting Taysom Hill back. That makes that a little bit more difficult. Going into Denver, that's tough.
But he's not good. I mean, Taysom Hill is a starting quarterback. I mean, come on.
I mean, our defense is tough. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I get it. I'm optimistic sometimes, but other times I'm just like,
all right.
With John, with the Howie Roseman stuff, and it's just
sure. Sean, best movie of the '90s. Which one is it?
With Sarah Connor and Terminator 2 said?
Has already been said. Give me a different one.
Really? Boys in the Hood?
Boys in the Hood had not been said, and I think that was probably 90, 91, something like that. What a great movie that was. Twitter poll question of the day brought to us by the Casino at Delaware Park Sportsbook. Watch and wager on all pro sports at the Delaware Park Sportsbook. Lottery agent for the Delaware Lottery. You must be 21 to play. Today's question, which team will have a better regular season record? John, the options. A, the Flyers, currently 5-2-1. B, the Sixers, currently 6-2. Where do you think the results came in today?
Man.
Many people voted on Twitter.
I think in part because they just like the Flyers more. You're going to have, 70% say Flyers.
Sixers get the nod with 55% of the vote.
Really?
But you know what's great? Both teams have a shot to win that poll. Like, I don't mean today. I mean the next 6 months. I mean, we actually have a pretty good shot at two teams in the playoffs in April and May at the same time. And we need that, man. After the Phils, after the Eagles last year, certainly with the possibility the Eagles don't get it together this year, we need good Sixers and Flyers seasons. And so far, very good looking out of the gate. Up ahead, Seth Joyner. He joins us next. The night he goes in tonight to the Philadelphia Sports Hall of Fame and his thoughts on the present-day Eagles as well. Joe DeCamera and John Ritchie on 94 WIP. Hey, you guys hear me talking all the time about how much I love to take a hot bath. Took a 2-hour bath yesterday. And there's nothing better than knowing that with a parts and labor plan from PGW, when you need hot water, you have hot water. PGW's parts and labor plan is great protection for your natural gas heater and other natural gas appliances. And when your appliances run efficiently, you spend less and you keep more money in your pocket, and certainly that's a win for you. Plenty of plans to choose from, and there's never been a better time to sign up. Do so now. It's easy to do. Go to pgwplp.com. Again, that website, pgwplp.com, and choose the plan that's right for you.
If the sun refuses to shine, I don't mind.
Joe DeCamera and John Rich. It is, of course, 94 WIP. Sixers and Flyers both back at it tonight. The Eagles in a couple days against the Chargers. And tonight also a great event here in Philadelphia. Philadelphia Sports Hall of Fame, which for close to 15 or so years now has been doing a great job enshrining some of the all-time greats in Philadelphia sports into the Philadelphia Sports Hall of Fame. And tonight, a new class goes in and includes Richard Hamilton and Dallas Green and a bunch of very notable figures from Philadelphia sports. And our next guest, he's certainly one of the great Eagles defensive players of all time. He is one of the best commentators I've ever heard talk about any sport, frankly, anywhere in the nation. It's just not about the Eagles and Philadelphia sports. When Seth Joyner talks, we listen, and we welcome him to the show and congratulate him today. Seth, congratulations, man.
John, Joe, how you guys doing today, man?
Good,
Thank
buddy.
you. I appreciate it.
Great.
Seth, how does it feel? You must be excited to know you're going in tonight to the Philadelphia Sports Hall of Fame.
You know, it's humbling, it's shocking, and I don't think, I could be, any prouder, when you consider this great city and some of the great professional athletes, that have come out of this city over the ages, to be recognized as one, to be eternally enshrined as one of the greats in the city of Philadelphia sports history. It's kind of had me at a loss for words. So I'm excited. I'm excited about it. I'm excited for my family and my friends that will be in attendance tonight. And I'm just looking forward to an awesome evening.
Awesome, Seth. Well, you deserve it, man. We'll do more here as we move forward to today here with some retrospective on your career. Let's start with the present-day Eagles, Seth. One of the big questions we're all trying to figure out is Sirianni and Gannon going to learn from what didn't work and then what did work and apply it in the second half of the year? What's your gut feeling tell you about whether these guys learn from all the nonsense and are ready to be better coaches and put the players in better positions to win?
By no stretch can you really make, after the fact, the comparison. But, if you look back at 2017 and how Doug Peterson started off, it's similar. It's just that he kind of figured it out a little sooner. It'd be very hard for me to believe that, they could have the kind of success that they had on both sides of the ball last week, albeit being the Detroit Lions, and come back this week and do something completely different. And I think that, it's been a long time coming. I don't think the cry has been, hey, run the ball 60% of the time and only throw it 40. But certainly you can't live at 80-20, 75-25, run the pass. And if they expect for the players to be confident in what they're doing, and if they expect to finally get some heat off of their behinds, I would submit that they should follow last week's game plan or something close to it at least.
Seth, how much hope and belief do you have that this team can make something of this season? Because Joe here is talking about playoffs.
As a possibility.
Well, I think we all looked at the beginning of the schedule and realized that, they were going to have a tough road to hoe. But once they got past those first 6-7 games, that the schedule definitely lightens up. Now, they got a long way to go. You can look at last week's game, and I've reviewed the game. I've looked at the all 22, and, there's still some concerning things about this football team. Specifically, some other players stepped up and made some plays on the defensive side of the ball. You move on from Eric Wilson and, Davion Taylor slides in as the starter. When I look at him, he is so raw. He has so much ability. But to be honest with you guys, he's not ready. He doesn't know how to play the position of linebacker at the highest level yet. I'm concerned about Fletcher Cox because I can see the frustration in how he plays. He's sick and tired of the double teams. And I think, he and Javon Hargrave are seeing so many of them because of the linebacker play. When you're not worried about linebackers that can pull the double teams off, then you just lay on those guys as long as you can until you have to come off, and that's usually 4 or 5 yards down the road, down the field. I'm concerned about the offensive line because as I look, I don't think I've seen Jordan Mailata play as badly as I've seen him play the last 3 or 4 weeks. Mm-hmm. And the young guys really don't understand all the intricacies of, how blocking schemes work and how they're supposed to position. Now, that being said, they rushed for 236 yards, last game. Whether they're able to, duplicate that this week, the jury's still out. But, listen, there's some hope because of how the schedule shakes out. And because of how the schedule shakes out and the player and the teams that they have to play, there's a possibility, that they can win more games in the second half of the season than they will lose. I'm not sure whether that's a pause or a cause for optimism or not, but it is what it is. We expected for them, to not really come out of these first 5 to 7 games unscathed, and they certainly didn't, sitting at 3-5. But I think as you look at the schedule, anything's possible. But I'm based upon what I'm seeing internally as I watch games and break down what I see. I'm not optimistic at, any kind of playoff run.
How do you evaluate TJ Edwards' play in this last game?
I think TJ, for the first time, was highly motivated and had an opportunity to play. So, understanding that, he wanted to take advantage of it and make the most of it, and he certainly did. But what it showed me is that the kid can play, Mm-hmm. So where have you been hiding for the last 2 or 3 years? Why haven't we seen this level of play? Why haven't you risen to the top, and unseated some of these other guys that have been posing as starters for the last 2 or 3 years? Okay? Now, everybody talks about, hey, his, he's a liability in the passing game. But the way I saw him run around on Sunday, you can't tell me that if he's coached properly, that he can't get that done, that he can't be more of a factor in the passing game because he's flashed speed. He flashed a lot last week. Now we just need to see him be able to do it on a continuous basis.
How much do you think Milton Williams is going to cut into Fletcher Cox's playing time if things continue the way they have?
I think a lot. I think that, not that Fletcher doesn't have it, and not that, I don't believe that, he's hit the wall because he's in his 10th year. I just think that he's playing from a position of frustration and he's not motivated right now. But there's nothing to motivate you like, your backups outplaying you. Yeah. And then your playing time becomes minimized. So I expect for him to kind of break out of his funk a little bit here. And, listen, it's also on Jonathan Gannon to put Fletcher in positions where he can be effective. That's what coordinators do. They figure out ways to get their best players freed up so that they can do what they do best. But Milton Williams, hey, he's another guy that flashed last week for the first time. And I think they finally realized that, or finally, got some size on him enough where they can play him in a 3 technique or a 2-eye technique and get something out of him. I thought that, he was a little light at the beginning of the season, going into training camp. And I thought that, when you look, the only time they played him was in their 5-man front. And their 5-man front is basically either a 30 front or under or over front where you can put him in a 5 like a 30 front defensive end.
Yeah.
So I get the sense you're going to see a lot more of him just based upon where he was drafted. The Eagles have a thing for trying to validate their draft picks, and I can see that coming with Milton Williams.
Javon Hargrave, has his play dropped off, or is he being more accounted for by offensive blocking schemes, or is he looking like he's hurt out there?
No, listen, I think the linebacker play, John, has to improve in order for, the defensive tackle play to improve, especially in the running game. I mean, I saw for me in the Raiders game where Fletcher was in a 3, Javon was in a 2-eye, and they reached Javon with the tackle and the guard.
Farmers Policy Perks are that little extra something you can get when you're a Farmers customer. So to tell you about them, we're adding a little extra something to this ad. A backup singer.
Ooh, singer.
When you have the Farmers Signal app with Crash Assist.
Crash Assist.
If you have an auto accident.
We can send help if you want it.
Wow, that sounds like a whole lot of something. Get a quote at farmers.com.
We are farmers. Bum, 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 bum.
Not available in every state. Only available select Farmers branded policies subject to terms and conditions underwritten by Farmers Trucker Fire Insurance Exchanges or affiliate.
How long was Neil Armstrong actually on the moon? When did Europe start speaking English? Did Marco Polo really go to China? CuriosityStream is the streaming service for all things history, plus science, wildlife, and more. What's the real story behind the Mona Lisa? We've got that. What caused the collapse of Rome? We know. Where did we find mankind's earliest ancestor? Come find out. From Egypt to Einstein, CuriosityStream is the place for history and more. Visit CuriosityStream.com and start streaming now.
Time is everything. Our lives are under its spell. Be among the select few to command the fleeting hours with the tradition, elegance, and performance of a timepiece from Longines. Handcrafted in Saint-Amir, Switzerland since 1832, Longines' watchmaking expertise reflects a strong devotion to the classical elegance and excellent quality, which never cease to delight those who appreciate exceptional timepieces. Discover the newest Longines models. Elegance is an attitude. Available at the Timepiece Collection in Englewood.
Hey sports fans, Superbook Sports has all the pro action in the palm of your hand. Whether you're new to sports betting or you're a seasoned wagerer, Superbook is the app for you. Visit us at superbook.com and sign up today. Take advantage of a $750 deposit match bonus. That's right, they will match you dollar for dollar up to $750. Make sure you sign up now and check the app daily to see the latest odds boost and promotions. Terms and conditions apply. See site for details. Have a gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Even though he was in a 2-eye and double teamed him and ran him all the way to the goal line where Davion Taylor was still standing with his heels on the goal line watching the play.
Wow.
Fletcher on the other side, they doubled him with the center and the guard on the other side. And they're blocking our defensive ends with tight ends, which should never happen. So it's a combination of the defensive ends being more dominant and the linebackers being able to recognize these double teams right now and come downhill and pull those double teams off. Then these guys can figure out, okay, now, whoever is the guy that's not being doubled, he can be more active, whether it's Fletcher or Javon. But just as long as you're laying on these guys with 600 pounds, 700 pounds, they're not going to be effective if the linebackers don't come downhill and pull the double teams off, and if you can continue to block defensive ends with tight ends.
Put another way, it helps if you have Seth Joyner, Byron Evans, and William Thomas behind the defensive line.
Yeah, put another way, you need more good players than just D tackles
to
have a good defense.
Seth Joyner with us right now, of course, going into the Philadelphia Sports Hall of Fame tonight. For more information, you can visit PhiladelphiaSportsHallOfFame.org for everything about tonight's banquet. It should be quite a night. Seth, let's do a couple quick questions here on kind of retrospective of you and your career. Buddy Ryan, his impact in your career, his impact in your life?
Huge in both areas. I think people have a flawed opinion or, outlook on Buddy. If you were one of his guys, you were one of his guys. And it took you time, to pass that rite of passage to get there. From a football standpoint, he took the skill set that I had. He honed it. He taught me how to be, a better linebacker. And he gave me opportunity when, quite frankly, at that time, it was only 30 teams. 29 of the teams couldn't see, what lay beneath. And then, the everyday, life lessons. Buddy was a master at mind games. And if you weren't mentally strong, he was a hard coach for anyone to play with. I saw really good players wilt under the pressure because he was going to test you from a mental and psychological standpoint every single day. So, he made me stronger, from a mental standpoint. It got to a point where he could lambaste me in the media, and, I understood what he was doing. So the information that I needed, I took, and the information that was, nonsense, I just let it go out the other ear. But all the other life skill things, that you learn from coaches as a 20-year-old. And, when I came in the league, I was 20 years old. I didn't turn 21 until November of my rookie season. So it was a huge learning curve being around a guy like Buddy. And it was tough love. It's not like these guys coach today with all this emotional intelligence, which I think, to a certain degree, because these kids are wired the way they're wired, that you have to have it. But it was tough love. I was raised that way, and I had a coach that coached me that way. I had a number of coaches that coached me that way. And for me, it was to my benefit.
Seth, what was it like for you to play right behind Reggie Jerome, Mike Pitts, Mike Golick, and Clyde Simmons?
Hey, listen, it was awesome. Let me tell you something. There are people who have said that, Seth Joyner doesn't have the success that he has, without that front four. And I would say, you know what, you're 100% correct. Because if you show me a great linebacker, especially an off-the-ball linebacker, and I played probably, 40% of my career off the ball, show me a linebacker who didn't have a good defensive line, and I'll show you a linebacker who really wasn't that good, and it works both ways. The same way I was talking about, hey, being able to pull those guys off the double teams, as a linebacker, I think I provided a lot, for those guys. There were times, where I rushed the passer and drew an offensive tackle in one-on-one, which freed Reggie up and freed Clyde up and freed Jerome up to be one-on-one. But there were certainly times where I benefited from pass rushing. Reggie drew the double team, and I wound up, pass rushing against a tight end or a back, which I felt like I should dominate that matchup. So being able to play with those guys not only benefited my career, but, man, we were tight. You know, we were like a three-cord rope, man. We were tight, and, you know, we were competitive, not only on the football field, but, you know, in a healthy kind of way, competitive against each other. You know, if Byron had 10 tackles, I wanted 15. If Reggie had 3 sacks, Clyde and Jerome wanted 4. You know, so it all worked together. I think when you have a good defense or a defense that's viewed as great, all the pieces must come together and work together in order for you to have success. And once you have success, everybody's going to get the accolades. Obviously, you know, everybody knows, and, you know, that defense is remembered for that front four because it certainly was dominant. But you had some other players that were making some plays as well.
No question. Seth Joyner. Seth, final thing here. I'm curious on a personal level what it has meant to you in recent years. I would just phrase it kind of coming back in the fold of Philadelphia in that Eagles Hall of Fame, television work with Comcast, now NBC Sports Philadelphia, now the Philadelphia Sports Hall of Fame. After all those years where you hadn't been here that often, what's it been like for you kind of getting back in the Philadelphia mode?
Well, you know, listen, it's awesome. Had I known, you know, and I should have known because I've got friends in Philly that have been saying for years, you need to get back to Philly. You need to get back to Philly. The opportunities, you know, here in Philadelphia are so much greater for me than they are in Arizona. But when you wake up on a day like today and it's 50 degrees, I'd much rather be in Arizona where it's 75 degrees than here. But, you know, in a serious way, Philly is like home to me. I love the city. I love the fans. I appreciate and have the utmost respect for the love that you get as a athlete in Philadelphia and how the fans never forget. You know, I go places and I'm with friends and they're like, man, is it like this all the time? I'm like, listen, this is Philly. You know, these fans show you love and you have to show love back. I never get to a point where, you know, I'm frustrated or feel overwhelmed, you know, by the attention because to me, that's nonsensical. These are the people that loved you, and these are the people that rooted for you, and these are the people that still love you 20 plus years after you know you're out of the game. You know, and if I got to take, you know, 2 minutes out of my day to make someone's day, then it's worth it to me. Great. You know, so I mean, my love for this city and you know the opportunities that it's afforded me, you know, to come back, to work, to be recognized. I just, you know, I can't put it into words. I cannot put it into words. And it's been a long time since I played here. I left here in 1994. But for me to come back and still get the love that I get in Philadelphia, man, hey, I feel like Super 5 right now. Philadelphia, 59 will always love you.
Seth, you deserve it all, man. Tonight we'll celebrate you. The banquet again, Philadelphia Sports Hall of Fame.org. Seth, amongst many greats going in to the Philly Hall tonight. Seth, I'll see you later tonight, man. And again, thank you for joining the program today.
You got it, man. Thanks for having me on.
All right, there he is, Seth Joyner. What a player he was, and what an analyst he has become. Unbelievable. Let's talk to Salvador right now in Coatesville. What's happening, Salvador?
Hey, what's going on, guys? Hey, Kirk Coupon stinks, man.
Who?
Kirk Coupons. Kirk Cousins. He stinks. Like, why are we worried about that guy? Anyway, Joe, I was wondering.
Hey, how about this?
To ask you this.
Hold on. How about this?
Okay.
The list of every NFL quarterback who's thrown for 3,000 yards and 25 touchdowns in each of the last 6 seasons. Who do you think's on that list?
Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, I'm sure he is.
Who else?
With 3,000. Hold on, Salvador.
3,000 yards, 25 touchdowns in each of the last 6
Probably
seasons.
Brady and, I mean, Breeze, if he was healthy in all of them. I don't know if he was. Rodgers wasn't healthy in all of them, and I'll say Russell Wilson. That's my answer.
Right. Those are the names. He's the only one. He's the only quarterback to have done this. I mean, he has been consistent. If anything, consistent.
He's had a good career. He's just an average NFL starting quarterback.
But he doesn't stink. That's my point.
I never said
he
stunk.
does
I
not
said he's an average NFL starting quarterback.
Well, I'm saying Salvador, he does not stink.
Yeah, no, Salvador's wrong about that. Yeah, Salvador, go ahead.
I don't know. I guess I just don't like him because he was at Washington before. But anyway,
I think that's part of it.
I wanted to ask you, Joe. I hear you on these AutoZone ads.
Yeah, get in the zone,
but
man.
For some reason, I don't think you know anything about cars.
Let me tell you something, Salvador. I am an aficionado. I am an aficionado. right?
No, I've been wanting to ask you that for a long time.
That's
but
why
I
he needs
really...
AutoZone. They help him out and get him going.
That's the whole thing. I mean, I can talk about a dentist, but I don't know how to be a dentist. That's why I go to a dentist.
I mean, you probably don't know how to change a tire
I mean,
either.
Salvador, would you want me working on your teeth? I think not.
I wouldn't want you working on my car either, though.
Okay, but I can tell you where to go. That's the thing.
Anyway, let me give you my movie, man.
Yes.
That's what I called for.
Yes.
Your favorite movie, man, Titanic.
Well, another big answer.
God.
Another big answer.
Yeah, that's big.
All right.
Yeah.
We
might
got
get one vote.
we got a lot to sift through.
Are you going to vote for Titanic?
I'm going to consider it.
I know.
It's up there. By the way, there's another Best Picture that
there's a
hasn't been
massive
said.
answer still on the board.
There's a massive answer that hasn't been said.
I think these are the best movies. Like, in
Yeah.
my world,
90s are
the
great.
90s are the best
I agree.
of the bunch.
But this list is not complete.
I agree.
This list.
There's a major.
I'm pretty sure there's a caller on the line who has that movie.
Okay, well, I haven't said it. I just said
know,
all I said is
know.
this
I'm
list
just
is not
saying.
complete. Joe DeCamera and John Ritchie, time's yours plus calls ahead on 94 WIP.
The Park Sportsbook is the official sportsbook partner of the Real Philly Fan. And we got college and pro football, hockey, MMA, soccer, and basketball to enjoy. Live in-game betting lets you bet while you watch. Bet the money line as it changes during the game. Bet on individual player performances as they happen. Like in basketball, bet player points, rebounds, and assists. In football, you can bet passing and rushing yards, touchdown scorers, and more. Plus, same-game parlays, props, teasers, and over-unders. New customers sign up right now. Get your first bet risk-free up to $500. Do it now. Your first bet is risk-free up to $500. The Birds are 1.5-point home underdogs hosting Los Angeles. A lot of people give them a real chance to win, and they're plus 112 on the money line. The over-under, 50 points. Just download the app or click parkscasino.com/PA. Use my promo code JRWIP. Your risk-free bet is refunded in site credit. The website has all the details. Bet with the best. The only sportsbook app backed by the #1 casino in Pennsylvania, the Park Sportsbook app.
All right, time's yours. Joe DeCamera and John Ritchie. And time's yours is sponsored by Baker Tilly. Let's hit it with time's yours.
Great win by the Sixers tonight. Able to hold off a late charge by the Bulls. Huh? Anyway, great letter, Joe, calling your shot many years ago. The afternoon guys give you a hard time, as they always do. You know, Jack always with the camera drops and sure. But they give you a lot of props, too. They were very impressed. Even Ike had to say you were one of a kind. I want to borrow a line from the movie Anchorman, and I want to clean up a bit. You know, they may make fun of you, but they darn well respect you. Time's yours.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. And back to the Sixers thing, John, I just continue to be blown away by Seth Curry.
Me too.
I am amazed at how good Seth Curry is.
And I was not expecting
anything
like that.
He is actually a mini Steph Curry. Like he's got some of that.
He's right there.
It's amazing.
Joe DeCamera, Joe DeCamera, Joe DeCamera. So if I say your name 3 times in my bathroom mirror, do you show up in my bathtub with a book and a duck? Time's yours.
Well, duck, no. Probably not. I mean, chances of me being in your bathtub tonight, I mean, it's got to be less than 0% chance.
Joe, legendary classic letter at the age of 23. I'm so glad to see that you haven't changed one bit. Was there some arrogance? Yeah, a little arrogance. Cockiness? Yeah. I think more confidence than anything. And the fact that you put 14 years in before you got your own show shows that it paid off. Great job. Legendary letter. Classic. Classic. Joe DeCamera. Joe DeCamera. Joe DeCamera.
Thank you very much. Although it was pointed out to me this morning by our program director.
Yeah, good point by Rod.
I signed my name at the end, Joseph DeCamera.
A little inconsistent.
If I was really on top of my game all those years ago, I would have ended it with Joe DeCamera, but that was my mistake.
Wow. As far as Joe's letter goes, man, all I can say is, dude, you definitely got a little cocky bone in you, don't you?
Weird. That's the first time I thought, wow, you've got a little cocky bone in you too, don't you?
Go Birds.
Go Birds. I like that. And with that, we shut it down.
The Time's Yours line. Leave Joe and John a message of your thoughts, compliments, and complaints. Call 215-238-4500.
If you don't know what we're talking about, it's a letter I wrote to WIP many years ago, 19 years ago. It's up on the station's Twitter account. We talked about it yesterday in our show. It was my salvo sort of in entering the industry and trying to try to ultimately land a job at WIP. All right, let's go to the phones. Let's talk to Neil in North Jersey. Good afternoon, Neil.
Gentlemen, thanks as always for taking my call. I greatly appreciate it.
Thanks for calling, Neil.
So, I usually agree with 95% of what you say, John, but I got to disagree with you on Kirk Cousins. Coming into this year, he's 8-34 against starters as a starter against teams with a winning record. He's not a bottom feeder, but if you're asking me what I want Kirk Cousins right now on this team, I agree with Joe. He's a middle-of-the-road quarterback, and I wouldn't.
Is that better than what we have?
Well, I would take him over Hurts, Neil, but he's not the guy I would want to have as my franchise QB.
Agreed. A couple points. First off, what a class act Seth Joyner is. I mean, going into the Eagles Hall, unbelievable. Yeah. Class act.
Yeah.
A couple things. So the owner in the beginning of the year sort of had a bait and switch when he basically said this was a rebuilding year and a transition year. So what it does is it sets up a sort of a false choice for the fans. If we don't exceed expectations, well, it was a transition year. If we go beyond expectations and make the playoffs, we went beyond the transition year that we were supposed to have. So I think the owner saying that in the beginning of the year was a setup for the fans, no matter what happened, that the fans could accept the outcome.
Except for one thing, Neil. I think you're being a little tough on Lurie in this sense. When a team's 4-11-1, you're really not supposed to be particularly good the next year. I mean, no matter how Jeffrey Lurie was going to label it, they were 4-11-1. I mean, what do you? I mean, to me, I expected 500 around that at best. I mean, I picked him at 9 and 8.
You didn't.
Yes,
said
I did.
9 and 8.
500 around that at best. I picked him at 9 and 8. I mean, it's
as far as the Eagles making the playoffs, I mean, look, we have 7 games we can win: Denver, New Orleans, and then obviously the 5 teams. The Giants twice, Washington, and Dallas. But even if we make the playoffs at 9 and 8. Much like the years where we came back and went 9 and 7 for 2 years in a row, we only did it because we beat the bottom feeders in the NFC East. So making the playoffs
does not mean they're looking like a great franchise. A lot of work would still need to be done. Neil,
Correct.
We're going to start turning too quickly. A great movie from the 90s.
Much like that caller the guest you had earlier, Russ or Ross. How about Clueless?
Clueless, as if. Let's go to Kevin in Quakertown. No, that was really bad. Kevin, give me a movie from the 90s.
Good for you.
Schindler's List.
Been waiting for that answer. A haymaker. Bob, give me a great movie, Bob.
The Sixth Sense.
That's another.
Bruce Willis.
I think that was 99. I was not as huge a fan of that as many, but it's good. Chris in Northeast Philly. Chris, give me a big movie.
I'm going with Clerks.
Clerks, yeah, another good movie. Joe, Joe's not there. Dan, give me a movie, Dan.
They say Goodfellas yet?
Has been said, yes.
Okay, then Howard Stern's Private Parts.
Okay, Private Parts. And then finally, Justin. Justin, give me a movie.
How about Bronx Tale?
Bronx Tale, yeah, that would be the 90s. That's a good answer as well. All right. You know what was not said?
Braveheart.
Yeah, Braveheart was not said, and The Usual Suspects was not said. So
Usual Suspects, one of my 2 favorite movies of all time.
Yeah.
So.
7 also, it wouldn't be in the top 5, but it might be in the top.
7's a great one.
Might be in the top 10
Fight
to 12.
Club should be mentioned.
Fight Club in the 90s?
I think so.
Yeah.
Is it? All right.
99, I think, maybe.
All right,
yeah.
guys, we got to make a call
I
here.
Fight Club.
And
Love
this
Fight
is
Club.
this is
Yeah,
tough.
great one.
We've got Shawshank. We've got
I don't think
Goodfellas.
it's tough.
Well, go ahead.
I think Goodfellas probably should win.
No, I don't know about that. All right.
Schindler's List, Shawshank, Goodfellas, Pulp Fiction. Pulp Fiction is high for me.
For me, it's between Pulp Fiction and Goodfellas.
Look, you got Forrest Gump. You got The Matrix.
Ooh, The Matrix.
You got Pulp.
Man.
You got Silence of the Lambs, which is where I think I would personally go. This might be. We got Titanic, which is a biggie.
Is this a poll tomorrow?
Yeah, it is a poll tomorrow.
I think there's a poll tomorrow.
I mean, because you also got Schindler's.
Yeah.
I mean, plus you got a lot going. I mean, Boys in the Hood was phenomenal. I think this is a poll tomorrow.
Let's do a poll tomorrow.
All right,
I think that's the move.
And I think it's going to be double poll. We're going to have to take it from 8.
I think we do the double poll.
Yeah,
again.
double poll tomorrow.
Yeah,
and
brackets.
Bracket.
Love it.
I actually kind of enjoy when we do that.
Me too. I think it's fun.
Because this is tough, man. I'll tell you what won't make the bracket is Clueless, but it is a good movie. But as if it was going to make it. Everyone, have a wonderful rest of the day. John Marks and Ike Reese are up next. We will talk to you tomorrow on a Football Friday tomorrow on 94 WIP.
Farmers Policy Perks are that little extra something you can get when you're a farmer's customer. So to tell you about them, we're adding a little extra something to this ad, smooth saxophone riffs. When you have a farmer's home policy with guaranteed replacement cost, if your home gets destroyed, we'll pay to rebuild it regardless of your limits. Dig it. It's a whole lot of something. Get a quote at farmers.com.
We are farmers. Bum, 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 bum.
Optional coverage not available in every state. Only available with select farmers-minded policies. Subject to terms and conditions. Underwritten by Farmers Trucker Fire Insurance Exchanges or affiliate.
Hey, nice party.
Yeah? What's new with you?
Did you know blue whales in Hawaii can be heard off the coast of California?
What?
And time travel to the future may actually be possible.
How is that?
I discovered it on CuriosityStream.
I'm listening.
You can stream thousands of shows on nature, history, science, and so much more.
Cool.
And their annual plans are 25% off, just $1.25 a month.
Now I want to go back in time. Sign up for that deal.
Sign up now at CuriosityStream.com.
CuriosityStream.com.
That's it, CuriosityStream.com.
Hey, sports fans, Ricky Ricardo for Superbook. Superbook Sports has all the pro action in the palm of your hand. Whether you're new to sports betting or you're a seasoned wagerer, Superbook is the app for you. Visit us at superbook.com and sign up today. Take advantage of a $750 deposit match bonus. That's right, they will match you dollar for dollar up to $750. Make sure you sign up now and check the app daily to see the latest odds, boosts, and promotions. Terms and conditions apply. See site for details. Have a gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.